Namaste. We're going to do a gentle yoga flow today. So one thing I want you to keep in mind is just kind of meeting your body where it's at today. So we want to feel stretch, but we don't want to feel any strain. And so if there's any moments that you're feeling like this pose isn't for me, please take that in mind and listen to your body. You just got to tune in a little bit more and you'll see what your body's actually really calling for. So to begin, let's come to a comfortable seat. And maybe that's an easy pose for you, sitting crisscross. You can pull away fleshy parts from your sits bones or even rotate the inner thighs down towards the ground. Feel free, if this isn't a comfortable pose for you, to sit up on a block or sit up on a blanket. You can even extend one leg out. The most important thing here is that your spine is long and tall. So wherever that comfortable seat is for you, try and take the moment to just get nice and rooted. So you want to maybe wiggle a little from side to side, front to back, just where you feel centered. You can close the eyes if it's comfortable for you, or you can just gaze at the floor ahead of you. And just start by observing your breath, noticing where your breath is, noticing any thoughts that arise. And without letting them consume you, just kind of notice as they float on by. You can pick them up a little later. Maybe start to make a little bit deeper breath here. So on the inhale, you feel the rise of the belly or the chest. And on the exhale, you feel your belly button pulling back towards the spine, releasing the air. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, get big, expand with the breath. On the exhale, release it all out. Couple more moments. And then you can flip your palms to face upward, resting on the knees. Either stay here or slowly circle the hands around to touch at the center of the chest. Pranam. Rest the thumbs into the sternum. You can use that to lengthen a little bit longer, a little bit taller. And on your exhale, release your shoulders down away from your ears. On this next breath in, think about an intention you'd like to set for your practice. Maybe that's a goal or just something to embrace as you move through today. So that might be something such as kindness or patience. Whatever it is, just breathe it in. Releasing as you breathe it out. And then slowly blink your eyes open, and then you can release the hands down. Good. So from here, we're going to start with a spinal flex. So bring the hands in front of the shins. We're going to inhale as we pull the chest forward and the shoulder blades together on the back. Exhale as you come back, belly button towards your spine, rolling the shoulder blades apart and the chin tucked into the chest. Move back and forth with your breath. Find your pace, find your rhythm. Just one more cycle. And then inhale, come back up through center. Good. From here, let's bring the shoulders all the way by the ears. Exhale, roll them down the back. And once more back. And then we'll start to circle the other way. So inhale them up, exhale, roll them forward. One more time forward, and then go one more time back. Good. And let's circle the hands to pranam again. All right, we're going to inhale the pranam up to the sky. Exhale as you bring the hands about shoulder width or maybe even a little wider. And then turn your gaze to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Inhale, lengthen and strengthen through the arms and the fingertips. Exhale, release the shoulders away from the ears. Do it again. Inhale, lengthen, stretch up. Exhale, create space between the shoulders and the ears. Good. One more inhale. Exhale, bring the hands all the way together. Bring the hands all the way down and release. Good. From here, we're going to do a little twist. And so this is just going to be a seated twist from our easy pose. So we'll take both hands, inhale them up, and then exhale as you bring your right hand to your left knee. Bring the opposite fingertips behind you. Use those fingers to help you lengthen your spine long. Exhale as you twist over the shoulder. Every breath, inhale, create space. Exhale a little further into your twist. One more breath. Exhale into the twist. And then let's inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, twist to the opposite side. So use those right fingertips behind you to help lengthen. Exhale as you twist throughout the spine. So you're wringing out your spine. Think of wringing out anything you don't need. Letting it release. Every inhale getting a little bit longer. Every exhale twisting a little further, even if it's only with your eyes. Next inhale, let's bring the arms back up through center. Bring the palms together as you exhale. Bring it down. Good. From here, let's bring your fingertips by your sides and extend your legs out long. Okay, so just take a moment, just bounce the knees back and forth. Good. And then let's go ahead and bend the right knee, and then we'll reach around the base of that right foot. Okay, so if this isn't accessible for you, you can always grab around the shin, or you can just take your hands behind the thigh. Any which way, we are going to just start to move that hip a little bit. Just start some rocking. Now use that arm around the leg to help you lengthen your spine nice and tall, almost as if someone's pulling the crown of your head with a string from above. Good. Now if this feels like your hip has a lot of room to move here, you can go ahead and take that left hand around the foot and do a little rocking here, or you could come all the way into that left bicep and do some rocking. That is not my calling for today, so I'm just going to come out just a little. So keep that extended foot flexed. Keep the foot in your hand flexed. We want to protect our knee joints, and at the same time keep that bottom leg active. Take one more big breath here. And on the exhale, let's release that leg down. All right, let's try the other side. So same thing you did on the other side. So we'll go ahead and flex both feet here. Use the legs to help you sit up a little taller, and just notice where your hip is at. Check out the rocking. And then if you have the room, you can come to the opposite hand, do a little rocking here, or feel free to come all the way into the bicep and just gingerly sway that leg from side to side. Just starting to notice where our hips are at today. All right, let's release that leg down, and then bring the hands to the sides one more time and give them a little shake. All right, let's swivel our legs around to the sides, and then let's come up to hands and knees, so your tabletop position. So you want to line up the wrists directly underneath your shoulders. Your index fingers you want pointing forwards. They're parallel with the long edges of the mat, and the rest of your fingers splay them nice and wide and even. Now the tops of your feet can be down to the ground, or the toes can be curled under. That's just going to be your personal preference. But you do want to make sure the knees are directly underneath your hips. From here, we're going to move into cat-cow. So we'll inhale, tip the tailbone up, and look up for your cow pose. So your shoulder blades are coming together on the back body. exhale as you start to push the ground away from you, belly button up towards your spine, chin to your chest. Inhale as you come forward to your cow. Exhale as you push back, creating space between the shoulder blades for cat. Move back and forth. Find your rhythm in this. So maybe that means closing your eyes, just staying tuned with what you feel in your body. And then next inhale, come onto a flat back. All right, so from here, I'm going to ask you to extend your right leg straight back behind you with your toes on the ground, okay? So we're going to just stretch back through that heel. Notice how the calf is feeling, right? There might be some sensation there. Good. Stretch back, notice what that's like. And then turn your left toes so they're off the mat to the side. Center your left hand, and then we're going to roll to the inner edge of our right foot and shoot our right arm up to the sky for a modified side plank. Feel free to take that bottom leg to join the top for a full side plank if you are so willing. Breathe in, lift up through that side body, stretch through the chest. And then exhale, let's bring the hand down, bring the knees down, and come all the way back. Good. Move back into your cat-cow for a couple breaths. And then next inhale, come to a flat back. Good. All right, so this time we're going to extend the left leg straight up behind you, stretching back through that heel. Might feel a little tight, that's okay. And then we'll start to turn the right toes off the mat. You can start to center your right hand and then roll to the inner edge of your left foot. Stretch your left hand towards the sky, maybe bring the right foot to meet the left. Lifting up through the hips, stretching open through the chest. Breathe. One more big inhale. And then exhale, bring the hands back, bring the knees back. Comes right back to your tabletop. Good. From here, widen your knees as wide as your yoga mat. Touch the big toes together, and we're going to push back for a child's pose. So you can bring your hands out long, forehead can come to the ground, or to a block, or to a blanket, anything that's accessible. Now in this child's pose, we're just going to push back with the hands just a little bit to let the lower spine come a little closer to the seat. Come a little closer to the heels. Good. And then just let go of any tension and just take a moment here. Reconnect with your intention. Watch your breath move in and out. And then on your next inhale, start to come back up through tabletop, setting aside any props. Good. All right. From here, we're going to take our right leg and let's extend it out long. And we're going to inhale, bring it through the chest and step it forward to the front of your mat. Good. From here, plant the fingertips on either side and lift up off that back knee. Maybe wiggle that back toes back just a little bit more. Good. Now we're in a high lunge. So from here, I want you to think about pulling your right hip back a little, left hip forward. So we're squaring those hips. Notice what that does as far as alignment or any sensations in the body, right? So think about pulling knee to knee towards each other, that isometric pull. Take one more breath here. Exhale it out. And then bring your left hand to the ground inside the right foot, and inhale, sweep the right arm up to the sky. If this is a little too much, feel free to come down to that back knee for a low lunge twist. Take another big breath as you twist with your lower ribs. Exhale, bring that hand down, and then let's bring that knee all the way down to the ground. All right, from here, I want you to either bring a block or bring your hands to the inside of your foot. So bring your hands to a block or just straight down to the mat. Now we'll start here for our lizard variation. Now this might be where you're at today. Totally cool. Okay, everybody's version is going to be a little different. So you might also decide to come down to forearms on the block. I like kind of the middle setting for this. Now the whole time you want to hug your knee into your shoulder and your shoulder into your knee. Maybe if you have a little room to move, you can lift that back knee. Good. Now wherever you are, keep that knee hugging into the shoulder, shoulder into the knee. Breathe into any places of tension. Take a couple more really big breaths. This is a big hip opener. One more breath. Exhale it out. As you start to come on up, remove the blocks out of the way. And then from here, plant both fingertips on either side of the foot. So we're going to start to roll back a little bit so that heel is going to stay on the ground, but the toes are going to come up to the ceiling. We're going to start to walk the hands back on either side of the knee. If this is kind of far for you to come to the ground, feel free to bring the ground to you by having some blocks on either side under your hands, okay? Keep flexing that foot, pointing those toes up towards the ceiling. Keep pulling that right hip back. Good. Breathe into any places talking to you. Find your breath. And then let's slowly start to walk that foot back towards the front of the mat. You can set any props to the side. And then we're going to plant both sets of fingertips down. We're going to lift up to a high lunge. That back knee comes up. And then plant both of your hands down. This time we're going to step our right foot back to a downward facing dog. So your ears are between your biceps here. And then you can just pedal the feet back and forth, coming up to your heel and then heel back down to the ground. Good. Maybe swish the hips a little. Good. And then come through stillness. So we're going to start to stretch those thighs back towards the ground. Maybe the heels start to lower a little bit. Your gaze is about the middle of the mat. Hands are pushing down and away from you. Take a big breath in. And then on the exhale, let's walk the feet towards the front of the mat for your forward fold. Okay, so in your forward fold, you want to keep the knees bent. You want to make a connection between the lower belly and the upper thighs. So keep that connection the whole time. Release the crown of the head down towards the ground. Maybe shake the head yes or no. Alleviate any tension there. Take a breath in. And on the exhale, we're going to roll up slowly. Let the neck, the shoulders, the head, everything up here come a blast. Good. Circle the hands around to pranam. Rest the thumbs into your sternum. Stand tall in your mountain pose. Take a moment here to connect. Connect to your breath. Connect to your intention. then we're going to inhale the prayer pose up to the sky. Exhale as you swan dive, release the hands down as you forward fold back down to the ground. Continue to shake the head out. And then we're going to step one knee back to the ground and then the other, coming back into our tabletop position. Good. All right. From here, let's go ahead and extend the left leg out long. Okay. Stretch back through that leg. And then inhale, bring it to the chest and step it forward for a low lunge on this side. All right, so for your low lunge, make sure your foot is nice and grounded. Bring your fingertips to the mat, and then let's curl those back toes and come up to a high lunge. Pull that left hip back, right hip forward. Get that back leg straight and strong. The front leg, the knee should be either right on top of the ankle or a little bit behind. We don't want to go past the ankle here. Take a moment, get nice and grounded. And then let's plant the right hand down. We're going to inhale, sweep the left arm up to the sky for our lunge twist. Always the option to come to a low lunge twist. One more breath as you twist from your lower ribs. Exhale, bring it all down. Bring the knee down. Good. All right, how are we feeling, guys? Hope we're doing good. All right, so you can either bring both hands inside that left foot, or you can bring them down to a block. And we'll find our lizard variation. So we're going to mirror whatever you did on the other side. So maybe your hands were on a block here. Maybe you came down to forearms on a block, or maybe even forearms all the way down to the ground, right? So you're going to hug that left knee into the left shoulder. Curl those back toes under maybe, and extend that leg long. If your body says no, 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 just come on back down. Good. Find your version of this pose. There's no right or wrong version of a yoga pose. It's where your body is in this moment and at this time. Breathe into any places of holding, any places that feel tight. Send some breath there, allowing it to release. Take one more big, deep, juicy breath. Exhale as you slowly release, setting aside any props. And then let's plant the fingertips on either side of the foot. This time we're going to walk those toes up to the ceiling as we walk the fingertips back. Again, if you'd like to bring the ground a little closer to you, I highly suggest the use of props, blocks, or anything that you have at the house, a stack of books, anything works wonders here. So start to point those toes towards the ceiling. Pull that top of the foot towards your shin. Good. Pull that left hip back. Lots of sensations happening, right? Breathe into it. And then let's start to walk ourselves back forward, rolling that foot back down to the ground, planting the fingertips down. Come up off that back knee so you're in a high lunge. And then plant the hands down. Step back for a downward facing dog. From here, pedal it out if you need to, going side to side, swishing the hips, whatever's calling you. And then find some stillness here. Stretch through the crown of the head towards the fingertips, pushing down and away from you. Stretch back through the heels. Breathe in. Exhale it out. And then let's bring the knees back down to the mat. And then we're going to come through to sitting. So just split the legs. Swivel over to the side. Come back to your easy pose. again, if easy pose isn't a comfortable pose for you, feel free to stack some blocks or some blankets under the knees, or feel free to extend a leg out. Just sit up long. Here, take the time to check in with your breath. Notice if it's slow and steady. Notice if it's rushed and quick. Notice if it's somewhere in between. Alright guys, we're going to do a little side stretch. So we're going to take the left fingertips to the mat, and then inhale, sweep the right arm up and overhead. Palm is going to face down. The bicep is going to be by your ear, and then maybe turn your gaze to look past that bicep and look up. Now notice if your sits bones are on the ground. If one side has completely come off the ground, just come back. Good. And try, instead of collapsing into that lower side body, we want to lengthen this side too. So we want to come up just a little bit. We're creating space on both sides of the body. You can turn to look out over that gaze. Breathe in. Exhale as we come up, we're going to switch sides. So take the time here to check to make sure you haven't gone too far, that you're stretching through both side bodies. You're getting long on the underside as well. Gaze can be turned up past that elbow, past that bicep. If your neck says no, just turn your gaze straight ahead. Breathe into any sensations you're feeling. Allow them to release with that exhale. One more big breath here. Exhale, float on up. Good. Let's bring the hands to the knees. And then let's start some body circles. So we're going to pivot our body over the legs, inhaling as you come forward. Exhale as you float back. Let these be as big or as small as your body's calling for. And then next time you come through center, we'll reverse. So we'll inhale the opposite direction, exhale over the back. Just notice what it's like on one side versus the other. Try to notice without any judgment. And then start to make your circles a little bit smaller. And even a little bit smaller than that. Allow them to become so small that you might be the only one that feels the circles happening. Come all the way to stillness. You can close the eyes if you're comfortable, or just gaze at the floor ahead of you. You can flip the palms to face up. And for the next few moments, I just want you to follow the breath. Watch as the breath moves in the body. Watch as it moves out. Breathing the breath in. Breathing it out. And again. Slowly circle your hands around to pranam, resting the thumbs into the heart center as a pose of balance, pose of centering, a pose of bringing ourselves into ourselves and becoming a little bit more aware and a little bit more in tune. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.